Hello everyone. So we are going to be building a Flask weather app. So this is the project documentation that I've prepared. So make sure you subscribe, you hit that like button, and in case you need the document, then you send a message so that we can send you the full documentation. So without further ado, let's dive in. So Flask Weather app is a simple weather forecast web application built with Flask, an open weather map API. Users can search for weather conditions in any city and get real results, including temperature, humidity, and general conditions. So this actually build it. Let me just show you guys. Flask, yeah. So here is the app. Let me just try to run it and you guys see. Go to activate the environment. That virtual environment is activated. Then let's run the app.py. Virtual environment activated, app is running. So you hold the control key, then you click on the link. Here's the simple weather app. So when you put for example, you put the city, then it runs and gives you this. So when you put another one, for example, we have Paris, gives you the temperature, humidity, and condition. So that is the simple implementation of the weather app. So now let's build this app that you're seeing from scratch. Everything, start to the end. So start. I'm going to close this, and then I stop the app running. That will be Ctrl C. Then I deactivate the virtual environment. So just start a fresh like so. So that is, we're going to start with the, as I said earlier, so our simple weather app will be having it will have an input where the users will give the city name. Then there will be the open weather map API. We're going to use the open weather map. We're going to create API key from the open weather map. It's going to be free, don't worry about that. Just need to create a new account, verify your email, and then we're good to go. So that is our project folder. We're going to have in our main or the root folder. You can name it any way you want. So here we're going to name it weather Flask app. Then here, what happened? Yes, we are back. So here we are going to have the app.py. So that is where the main backend logic for Flask, the weather app, that will be. Then we have the folder called templates. This is where we're going to store our templates. For example, the front end, like user inputs, you want the user to input all that. It's going to be HTML. Then we have the git ignore. This for now it's not necessary, but then later we are going to push our code to GitHub. We need it because we don't want our API key to be a public one to everyone, for everyone to see on GitHub. So we're going to store it inside the git ignore. So the use of git ignore is that what it does is it hides some of the contents in a way that when a user tries to, like for example, when you're trying to contribute, you pull or you fork the repository, all the contents that are stored in the git ignore will not reflect in your machine. So that is the use. So we are going to store our .env. This .env, it's a file. We are going to store our API key inside the .env. Then we are going to store the .env inside the git ignore. So that means our API key is hidden inside the .env. Then the .git ignore will now hide the env. Then users will not see our API key. So that is it. Then we have the readme file. The readme file is where we are going to document our project. For now it's still optional, just like the git ignore. We are going to document our projects and we shall come to that. So that is just the project structure. Then we go to the prerequisites. These are dependencies that you need to install. So we can install the dependencies inside the virtual environment. So we are going to create a virtual environment. So the use of a virtual environment is simply that when your virtual environment is that you install some libraries inside your machine, but then you don't want your project dependencies to conflict with the libraries. So you need like independent libraries. So that's why we create our virtual environment and we install all our dependencies inside that virtual environment. So we shall be having the Flask, that is the backend framework. Then we have requests. We are going to be using the requests to validate users' inputs. Then we have the python.env. This is what we are going to use to our API key from the .env file. Then with that, we have completed the brief introduction of how our project is going to be. Now the next step is, now we are going to create our API key. So these are the simple steps that you're going to use to create your API key. The first thing, First thing you're going to do is to go to the website, open API. So you just create a new tab. We're going to say go to, I think it's down below here, just right click on it, it's me there. We're going to use the URL, just open weather map or /API. So if you don't have an account, you need to sign in. So if you have one, you sign in. If you don't, then you need to create an account. For now, I already have one. So you need, for one who does not have, you need to click on this, create. Then you follow the steps. Then you hit the create account. Then after, you go to your Gmail app and you look for activation mail sent to you. Then after, you have to click on activate. Then it will redirect you to the web page. Then after, it will tell you that it has been activated. Then you log in with the credentials. And after logging in, after you've created, then you come back here and you log in. You click submit. I think I've forgotten my, let's create a name, name, password, click on this, it's still news. So if you need this news about this, all that, you click on that. Then stairs, 1, 2, 3. So these are the stairs. This, just click that. Yeah, so that is it. Email already taken to us for the previous email that I had. Just go with this. Do the same for this. Agree with this. Click on that. Motorcycle. Yeah, there. Traffic light. I'll verify that. Yes, and create. Now we are doing some housekeeping. Sorry for now. So we have here, you have seen the message. We have sent a confirmation link. Please check your email. So let me just verify it quick. Yes, got the message. Verify your email. email has been successfully confirmed. Just refresh time, then so here is our default API key. This, once you create your account and you verify everything, you will find this, it will be there. Then what you're going to do is, if you need a new one, you can create. If you don't need a new one, you can just use this. So let's just say that we need a new one. Just say weather app. Wait. Generate. So you can see that API key was created successfully. What you do next is just copy this. Yeah. Let's just copy it so that later we paste. So go to the website, open this, sign in. We are done with all this. Navigate to your API key after signing in, top right. So once you're done with signing in, you can just go to this. You can just come to API keys. Yeah, you can just come direct to API keys and you find this page, and then you can just input the API key name and generate, then it will display. So here's the name. So then your API key status is active. You need to delete, you can just click on that. Then this for editing, then this I think for turning it on and off, active or you deactivate it. For now, it's free, so I think it's 60 calls per hour. Yeah, 60 calls per hour. So here, generate a new, this, or we are done with this. So that is how you're going to, your API key will be. So you'll be having all of this, then you have your API key at the end. Let's try to, there's a way to copy that. I think just remove this and test our API key. So it tells us that it's invalid. Yes. So when it tells you that it's invalid, sometimes the API key still being activated or it's on its way. There might be some, you need to give it some time until it fully activates. So let's just wait, then maybe sometime then we can try to test it again. For now, let's first build our project, then we can try to test it. So here, note, retire has 60 calls per minute and basic weather features. Yeah, that is it. So we don't need a lot, we just need that. Now with that, we are done with our theory. Now next step is diving into practical. Now we're going to build the app. So let's go. So let's create a new folder. Just clean up my Okay. So let's create a new folder called Flask project. Flask weather project in the display. A project that way. Created. Let's now change the directory to it. Yes, so what we're going to do is that we need to create a virtual environment. So to create a virtual environment, we're going to have this Python -m, then virtual environment. Then now after this is when you're going to put the name of your virtual environment. So if you need the name of your virtual environment to be like my virtual environment, yeah, just like that, it will still work. So when you click enter, so we wait. Yes, so it's created. We try to see, yes, our virtual environment is here. Now we need to activate the virtual environment. To activate, what you do is the name of the virtual environment. After, inside the name of the virtual environment, example, let's just do it. So we say that. So inside the name of the virtual environment, there is something called script folder called scripts. Then when we go inside there, we try to look inside the folder called scripts. Then we find something called activate. That is the key for us to activate our virtual environment. So we are going to say my virtual environment, the one you have created, make sure it's the same name. Then scripts, remember that folder, then the activate, like that. Then you find something looks like that. Then here we now have our virtual environment. Remember our project directory, we had the main app.py that runs the logic of our backend. Then we have our virtual environment, which we have just created. Then we have the readme file, which I said it will not be necessary for the time being. We'll create it later. Then we also have the .gitignore, which we'll create later. Then we have the .env, which we are going to store our API key. So for now, let's open the whole thing let's create it inside our IDE. Forgotten. So when you use this short, when you say code is a simple term, like a simple command that will open VS Code. So when you say code, we open VS Code like that. But then what we want is we need to open VS Code in this project folder, in this directory of our project. Like it's fine, we can go and we open the file again, we say folder and all that. Yes, it's going to be a long journey, but then when you need a quick one, then just say code dot, just like that. It will open that project directory. As you can see, we have our just like that. Trust, just like that. So now what we are going to do is we're going to create our app.py. main Flask logic. Oh, then the app. So here, what we need is to install our dependency. Remember them. So to install any dependencies, you need a pip install. So we are going to install Flask. You can install them like one by one independently, or you can like install them in a multiple format where you can install Flask immediately after Flask installing. It goes to installing the second one, after installing it goes to the third one, just like that. So Flask, then the next one is requests. So requests, earlier I said is a way of requesting data, but I had mistaken it with a Flask. There's a request in Flask. Now this request is used for requesting data from the API. So what we are going to use is that the API is going to communicate with the open map. So open weather map. So it's going to communicate, our project is going to communicate with open weather map using that API. So the API is just going to be like a middle. So the next one is c.env, of that kind, python.env. Let me just make sure that all is well. Pip install Flask requests python.env. So enter and wait for it to install. It might take a while. Install. As it loads, let's go through our project. So what we are going to do is that here we have the app.py, that is the Flask backend. So each of these we are going to import. You say from Flask import the Flask. So this part is the library, the Flask. Then this is now the class. There's a class inside the Flask module. So inside this Flask module there's a class called Flask. So we're going to import that class for us to use. Then we have another one called render template. Then we have another one called requests. So we are going to use them. Then here we're going to import the requests. Remember I said request is for like requesting data from the API. So that means the API key that we created, we are going to link it to the API so that it links the communication between our project and open weather map. Yeah. Then we have the .env, from .env import load.env. So here, remember I was saying that we don't need our API key to be public, we need it to be private. So this way we're going to store our. Then this OS module is what it's going to interact. This OS module interacts with the operating system. So that is the use of the OS. As I was saying, this is the main server, the functionalities of each. So functionality, Flask, main web server, framework, render template to render HTML from the templates folder, request to handle posts. So this request is the one that is from Flask here. The third one, this one, to handle posts, form input from the user. The requests, I think this is where I made confusions earlier. This request is what handles the user input. Then this is that makes HTTP API calls to open weather map. Yeah. Load.env loads environmental variables. Yes. Then OS let's perform interacts with the system to look for and get the API. So that is it. So let's check whether our dependencies are installed. Yes. So here, let's come here. Just you should see from down here. Just immediately from successful, you'll see what has been installed. So I think yeah. So we have the blinker, certify, asset, analyzer, click, panorama, Flask, then in Idna, it's dangerous, Jinga. So Jinga is a templating engine for Flask. Then makeup save python.env requests, then the workjack. Yeah, so all has been. So if you want to check whether you need to check the dependencies inside your virtual environment, you can just say pip freeze. Yeah, that. So it will show you everything that is inside your virtual environment. It's here. We have these ones. So the next thing to do is to now start development. So let's go back to our here. So now we're going to say from Flask, remember the Flask module, we import Flask class. Then the next one we import is the render template. This is what we are going to use to render our templates. Render template. Then the other one that we are going to have is requests. So that is it. Then another one we are going to import. We're going to go to requests. That one. Then again we say from Python. Is it Python dot? Yeah, Python dot from .env import load from .env .env and we import OS. So that is it. So we now loading the environmental variable. So now let's load our environmental variables. What you're going to do is, this is what we are going to do. We use the function that we imported. Then we now instantiate the Flask class. We give it an object called app. So that is the way. Now this app becomes an object. So that is how it is in object-oriented programming. So this is an object. Now the class is here. So that is how you instantiate. Yes. So load environmental variables from .env and create a Flask app. So what we do, we load, then we now create the app. Flask. Now you may see that the double underscore name and then double underscore, and you start asking yourself what's the meaning of it. Sure. So the double underscore, they are called danda. The danda is like, let me just put it here. Danda, yeah. Danda, double underscore, yeah. Double underscore, or magic methods. Yeah. So this double underscore name, double underscore is used. It tells, like, it exposes everything in there, or it makes all contents of the Flask available to our project. So that is the meaning of this. It makes the contents available to our project. So that is just the simple meaning I can explain of the double underscore name, double underscore. Yeah. So from now, there is no other use for our project. For our project, this is the only place that we are going to use the double underscore name, double underscore. So now what we are going to do, we are going to create remember the .env file. So we are going to say code.env. So now here we're going to store our API key. We're just going to say API key equals. Remember we had copied. I don't know whether you still remember that. Let's see here. Yes. So remember I told you about the API key. Before we pasted it before, and there was an error, and I was like, it's still like going through an activation and stuff. Now you see I pasted it again, and it has worked. So when it does not work the first time, just give it some time, it will definitely work. So here is just, see, it gives you the basic implementation. So that is how you test. Remember, in our documentation, where is it? In our documentation here, immediately after creating your API, make sure you add your API key at the end. Just copy this, then you remove your API key and then add it there. So that is how you should test your API key. So you see it works now. So this simple one here is just like pretty print. You can mostly find it when you're trying to test your API on the browser. So pretty print, it gives you a nicely formatted. So that is it. Then now we are done with creating our API is working. So let's just copy the API, that one. So let's copy. Someone might ask, why am I copying it twice? Sometimes when I copy, it does not reflect, so that's why I copy it twice. So here you paste. So you put API key and you paste it there, just like that. Then you save. Just remember to save. If you don't save, then you start getting errors that start asking yourself, wow, where did the errors come from? Yeah. So the next thing we're going to do is to now load our API key. So this is how we're going to say. We're going to say API key equals to os.getEnv. Then inside we're going to have the name of the API key, like the way how we place it here. So here it is case sensitive. If you don't put the right thing, then you'll find yourself getting errors that are your own, the errors that you made it yourself. So here we're going to say API key equals to os.getEnv. So it goes to our operating system. You see that is the use of the OS mode. So it goes and looks for this, the env. Then now here we're going to go back here and we see this, and then we copy it the same way the way it is. You can type, it's fine, but just to avoid errors. Now that way, we have access to our API key. That means we run our project will be working. So yeah, so we are just moving step by step until we get our app and running. Yeah, make sure to support by subscribing. Yeah, hit that subscribe button, and yeah, let's continue learning and growing. Yeah, so I've forgotten to let's just say, let me document here API getting API. So now we are done with these steps. Now what we're going to do now from here is, now we're going to now start with now the logic. This was just like setting up our project. So let's see where we are going. Now, as I was saying, we are done with setting up. The next thing we are going to do now, like, we're going to check users' inputs. So in Flask, there are routes. Like, for example, on the here, up here, or the path. So this path, see, it goes from the C users, this until it goes to the Flask web app documentation. So the same way with your app, when you're making your web app, you need to have your routes. Don't just like create apps without routes. Now, if you don't create your routes, Flask will not know where to like display your app. Where can I move? So that is the reason why you should create your apps. And in fact, when you don't create your routes, you end up getting errors. So the simplest way is just, you say app.route, then you open your brackets, then you put a slash. Now that slash, it tells Flask that that will be our like the default directory. Like when you just run the app, this is where we are redirected to. Yes. So you can have other ways. You can have like slash app this, but for now we go with the slash. So after that, we are going to have our function. I hope you know how to create a function. That is, you start with the def keyword, and if you don't, you'd stick around. I'll make a course, not even a course. I'll stream like how to work with functions and all that. So make sure you stick around so that you don't miss. So let's continue. So we use def and then index. Now here with the index word, it's the index is not a standard like a way you need to like have index. It's just like you see most programming, the word index is just like I think it's just like the start. Just like a default word that people now use all the time. It's just like for people who do HTML, index.html. Yeah. So you can either have like home you can just have def home. It can also work. So let's just stick to index. But if you're trying to build your own also from this, you can use any other name. So here we're going to have whether data equals none, then the error equals none. Then here we are trying to define error, and then we define data. If you don't define them that way, then later you get errors in a way that Flask will try to input your data, but then Flask will tell you that the weather data is not defined, and then you start asking yourself why. So good practice is to initialize them here. So none, or it can be just empty strings. So as I was saying, the functionality here, we have yes, this one defines the route, supports both get, load, and post. So get simply means you're just getting the, what can I say, you're just viewing the page, you're not inputting any data, you're just like clicking, viewing. But when it is post is when you input your data, maybe fill a form. Filling a form is a post. Then yeah, I think that is the difference between get and post. So you put your methods here. Then we shall initialize variables for results and error handling. Yes, so that is it. Now with that, let's now go back to our code, and then we try to implement that. So just here we say defining routes. Remember, it's up dot route. Then here we have the slash. Then we have our methods, because now it's inside should be inside. So these square brackets are lists. So what you do, you must put them the way it is. Then here we have get, then we have post. Then remember the functions use the def keyword. Now def, then you say index. Sorry, like that. Now we need to initialize the variables for weather data equals none. So here there is, don't worry about none. None is one of the data types. So weather data equals none. So the weather data is where we're going to store all our, like the information, the temperature, the what, all of them to be stored there. So don't worry about that. Then we go for the next one is the error. So now the error is that, remember we are trying to build a weather app that we are not only going to use it, but other people out there are going to use. So what we need is that we need others, when they use the app, they should not get stuck and the app does not work. So what we need is that if they input a wrong, like a buggy data, we need our app to understand that the information that the user has plugged in is not correct. So we need them, we need our app to handle those buggy data that the user has inputted. So that is why we have the error. So when the user inputs something that the app that we didn't intend for the user to put, then the error is going to be, we are going to like display for them some information there. So for example, the city is not found, it is not found, like that. So that is it. So we are still moving. So yes, we are moving quite well. So in case of any question, just put it in the chat. I'll go through them, see how I can help. So we are here. And now let's continue. Now we are in the request.method. So here, now this stage is where we are going to ask for for data from users. We are going to ask for them. Now when we ask for the data, we need to process it. Like we need to process and see whether it matches with our whether it matches with the, remember we need the users to input the city. So we are going to see whether the user's input matches the cities from the Open Weather Map API. So these were this if statement comes in, the conditional. As for the functionality here, the functionality of these two blocks, these two lines of code is retrieves the city input from the user form. Yes, so we are going to have a form. Then removes extra spaces dot strip. So these are what the Python string methods. Yeah, string methods. So we shall still look at that. Shall look at that some other time. Shall look at all of them. There are more than like, is it more than 30? More than 30, yeah, more than 30 string methods. But they are useful and they are good ways to solve like coding problems, coding challenges. You can use the dot strip methods. Yes, there's another one is dot slice. Is it? Yeah, dot split. Yes, dot split. Yeah, there are more. So now here, the dot strip, the meaning of dot strip is that we are trying to remember, as I was saying, is that we are building this for users. And if users are going to be using, we don't want, like, if a user gives something that the app does not agree with, then the app that just breaks down. And that will be very bad practice. And we don't want that. So we are trying to think from the user's perspective. So that is what we are building our project as a programmer, and we are thinking like a user. Now the dot strip is that, for example, a user, like, let me just go back here. For example, here we say name. So we just say, like, for example, our form. This is our form. Then we say name. Then we say age. That is our form. Now in our form, when you're inputting your data, for us, we think that the user is just going to say John. That is it. Just like that. This is what we are thinking. Then again, like that. That is what we are thinking. But there are some users that might say that, like that. Like that. Yes. Another one can say that. Like that. Then they submit. Now look how the information is. You see? It has a lot of white spaces. So with the dot strip, when the request dot, if the method, the request dot method is post, that means it is inputting data. Before the data is processed, we are going to remove all the white spaces. So we are going to remove all white spaces. Then after removing the white spaces, then we process the data. So that is the reason for removing for the dot strip. So the dot strip, it will remove all the white spaces. Then we can now have our clean information. So I think that is the basic explanation. Now the dot strip, it comes with also some extensions like the R strip and the L strip. R strip is the right strip, like it strips the white spaces to the right. Then the L strip strips the white spaces to the left. Then if you just say strip, it will strip all the spaces from right to left. So I think, yeah, that is just, that is a basic explanation. Then removes, yes, you see now here dots, this removes extra white spaces, the dot strip, yes, that is it. So let's implement these 2 lines, then we come back to now retrieving information from the API. There we go, and we see. So here we are going to use our, you see, if request dot method equals to post. Remember, I said get is just like requesting data, and post is inputting the data. So here we are trying to check, is the user inputting the data? If the user is inputting the data, then do something just like that. Yes. So that means if the user inputs data, then we get that variable city. Now that variable of city, we are going to store the user's information. Like for example, if the information is Paris, we're going to store it inside the city variable. Then now we are going to manipulate that city. Yeah, I think that is it. So we are going to have request.form.get. Now in Flask, there are several ways to, I think there are 2 ways. I'm not 2 ways, the one I've known. There are 2 ways to request this. You can say request dot form, then you put city. Now this name city should be the one that is for the input. When you go to HTML input, then name should be name city. So this city should correspond to that HTML. So that is one way. Another one is request.form.get. Then we have now here, we'll have city dot strip, just like that. So this is that this request.form.get, then this. So what it does is that this, you see this empty strings. When a user does not put any input, or if this input that the user has is a buggy input, then the default output will just be an empty string. So there will be no output. So that is the better way of using the get. So it does not return an error, but then it returns an empty string. So that this one is mostly used, the .get is mostly used in dictionaries in Python. Yeah. So we are going to talk more about dictionaries in our next session. So stick around. Then yes, so we are done with this, with strip. I hope you now know what a stripping is. Then also this one. No. Then we now go and check. Now this is where things get complicated, but don't worry, we are going to go through it. So here, if city, so here we are checking whether the user has inputted something, like the user has input. If city, so in Python, if you say if city, it sounds like it does not sound well in English, but that is how programming is. If city means that did the user input something? Is there content inside the variable city? So that is what if city means. Is there content? Yes. If there is no content, then do something else. Is there content? See, that is the good thing about if statement. Is there content? If there is content, it will proceed with all this. But if there is no content, it will go to, there is another one here we're going to talk about. So it will tell you something else. Here, we are going to have the URL. Now this is where we're going to put our URL. Then we're going to have, this is how you request data from the API. You have the URL. Then we have this can be the response, or it can be any word. This res, be anyone respond res. And then you should pay attention to Python naming conventions. You need to put put something that users are able to, like, not only users, but someone is able to identify. You cannot just say R equals this, but something that someone is able to see and understand. Then this res equals requests.get URL. So remember the requests that I was saying that interacts with the API. Yes, so that is it. It's going to go to the to this URL and get data from it. So remember this data that we have here. Yes, so it's going to get this. Then we try to look at the information, because here now we already have information. Now full information is it. So what we need is that we're now going to clean this data all. Then after cleaning, we display it to the user. Because imagine you're displaying such a thing to the user. I don't think it will be a nice one. Yeah, really bad. Even you yourself, if you go to a website and you're trying to look for the weather and you get that, I don't think you'll go back to that website. Yeah, I don't think that. So let's work on that. So here, so we are still going to be under this. Make sure you follow that. We are still going to be under the request.post. You should not get out of it, because we are still dealing with the user's input. So it should be inside the request.method. So if city, then here we're going to have our URL equals, we're going to have our URL there. I'll copy it. So this, let's just copy it that way. I think, yeah. Paste it there. What happened? Just format it. Start. So here, this, you don't need to go through a lot of it. This right. So this URL is the same as our one that we have up here. Let's just do. You see me copying twice? Yes, no. I have issues with copying them. I have to look for solution. So let's just compare the two so that we see that we are on the same page. So here we have the same until here. See? They're all the same. Yes. Here we go. Let's see whether it's HTTPS or HTTP. HTTPS. It should be HTTPS. Secure. So here, let's check again. 2.5 weather equals. Now you see the city here. City is going to be replaced by this, by the variable here. So that means when you input the city, it's going to be reflected here. See? So that's why we have this f string. Going to input the city. Then now your API key. You see now the beauty of this is that you don't need to put your API key here. It's hidden somewhere. So users, people who are likely to like check review your GitHub and all that, they will not see your key. Your key is more secure using the .env. So that is a better practice. If you're building your small projects using API and key, make sure you adopt that behavior of using adopt that practice of using the .env file. It's a really good practice. So I think we are good. Then here we are going to have, let's just give it a nice name. We should not say res. So response equals to requests. It should be requests, not request for Flask. It should be requests. Dot get. So what are we getting? We are getting the URL. That. Like that. So now we need to, how can I say? need to display the data. So data equals to response dot JSON. Response dot JSON. Yeah. So now this, when you say response dot JSON, it returns for us a clean format of JSON. For those who don't know JSON, so let's just say JSON. Yes, JSON is an open standard file format, data interchange format that uses human readable text to store and transmit data objects consisting of name value pairs and arrays or other serializable values. Yes, so that is it. So if you want to see the format of JSON format, yes, so it's similar to Python dictionaries. It's also a good way, like a better way of storing data. Yeah, so that is JSON. So you need to as you've seen from here, it's human readable text, so we need to return our information in a human readable manner. So we are done with all these steps. Next one we are going to have is, so the functionalities here is just construct API, request URL, next we get request the open API key, passes the return JSON data. If so, now that is another step. So here, this is just the basic functionality of our lines of code up there. Constructs the API request URL, makes a get request to the open API, open weather map API, passes the request passes the returned JSON data. So I think we have gone through all this now. So let's go to another step. That is now, this step is now we are checking. When we send the information, we have already now we just have to, let's just see how far we have come. We implemented the routes. We asked for users' inputs. We process the user input. Now the next step we are going to do is, when processing the user input, is that we need to ask, does it give us, does the request go through or it does not go through? So this is where the status codes comes in, something called status codes. So status codes, these are indications for whether your request has gone through or it has not gone through. So there is a 200, see, HTTP status codes are 3-digit numbers that indicates outcome of client's requests to a server during HTTP transactions. They are categorized into 5 classes. So 1, the ones that start with 1 is informational, indicates that the request was received and understood. The 2 indicates success, indicates that request was successfully processed, digit 200, okay. Then 300 redirection, 400 is client error. So I think some of you have even come across the 404 not found error. It is the most common, I think, the 404. So when you go to a website, like for example, let me just go to random website, like actually just say open weather map.com. See, I've made a bug there. When I click on that, see, it says it can't be reached. So I think that is the 404. It cannot be reached. So indicates that there was an error with a request. We're requesting something that does not exist or not found. Then 500 becomes a server error, internal server error. So now this internal server error is that it is the mistake in your code. It's not the request. It is your code that has errors that is giving the 500 internal server error. So just for me, it's internal server error. Yeah, so that these are the status codes, so you can read more about them, or we can go through them some other time. Yeah. Then where are we? So that means, you see now here we say 200 is okay, so we check, is our request okay, does it go through? When it goes through, then now we collect the data. So remember, with the data that we initialize to none is when now we give it some information. So we have the city because the data name. Then now here you see that this, we go back to this. Yeah. So request.json in a JSON format. So here, look at this. Let me try to increase this. Think like that, it's not visible. Look at this name. There's a name here. Yeah. So here, this name reflects to the name of the city. So that means when you want to display the city, you need to get this out of the information that was returned. Then also, if we need the country and the sys, I think that will stand for system. Yeah. Then we check here, country. See. Now here is that. Look, these are it's called, is it two-dimensional array? Yeah, two-dimensional array. Yeah. So it goes inside the sys list. Then after the sys list, the sys dictionary, it goes inside the sys dictionary. After the sys dictionary, it goes inside and looks for the country key. See here, you see sys here is a key of which dictionary? It's the dictionary, the data. Yeah, sys of the dictionary data. Then this has its own small dictionary there that has country, sunset and sunrise. Then here we can have the country. When you call this, then it will give you this country. Yeah. So we go back to this. Then I think that the explanation is clear here. So we go inside the sys, and then inside the sys there's a country. Then we go inside the country which is a key, and it gives us the value, which is KE. The same for temperature. We go here. Where is it? We look for, yes, it's inside the main. So we go inside main. After main, we go inside the temp. So let's see whether it's the same way. Yes, we go inside the main. After main, look for temp. It will give us the temperature. Humidity. Yes, humidity is also inside main. Let's see. Yes, the same way. Main. Then humidity. Description. Yes, it's here. Weather. Then description. Yes, so weather. Then, so for weather, you see this small, this one here, this one. Then description. Let's try to see what is the issue here. So you find that weather is not, it does not only have a dictionary, but it has a list before. So now here we tell that weather, then in the list we have the first element in the list. So that's where that 0 comes in. Yeah, first element. So inside the weather, we need that first element. So that first element, now the whole of this, yeah, all of this. Now inside this, we need the description. Remember, this description is a key, so we need this. So description is a key, and it gives us that the value. Then now we put the dot. You see, another string method is this dot title. It capitalizes first letter. So that is it. So now let's go to our code and implement that. Or we can see the functionality here. If request is successful, 200. Yes, we get this data. Yeah, I think that is our explanation. So let's go back to our code. So here, remember, we are still indenting because we are still following the format. Here we got the data, check the data. Now we are checking again. So we say if response dot status code equals to 200, then now weather data equals to, so you're going to have a dictionary. Then inside we have city, country, temperature, humidity. So city, then the data, yeah, data name, country, we have the data main, yeah, I think then country. Yes, sys then country, not main. Main is up here. Sys then country. Sys country. Then temperature. Temperature equals to where is temperature? Temperature is in main. So we say main, then temp, then humidity. Temp, data, main, temp. Then we have humidity and data. We have the same thing, main, then humidity, then the other one is description. I think that is the spelling. Okay. Data. So here description, main, no, it's in weather, then you the first one in the list, and you go to description. So here we shall have weather, first one in the list, and here we have description. That way, I think that is it. Yeah. So you see, that is the good thing about when you like paste your and test your, when you test your API in the browser, You see, you don't even, you have all your information here. It's just that if you know how to read, if you understand dictionaries well, if you understand list well, then just know that if you have this kind of information, it's very easy to retrieve the information. So it may appear messy, but once you learn dictionaries, just know that it will be easy. So yeah, the title, we should add that. We should add that to just give some good, yeah, that way. So we are done with that. What are we left with? Now the error. In case the user does not give the right city, what should we do? We handle invalid city's name for API errors. So this is what we are going to do. We're going to say error equals data.get message city not found. Please try again. Let's try that. Now, you see where the else comes in? It comes in from here, from these ones, from the city up there. If city, do this, or else if the user does not get a city, then our error comes equals to data.get message, then city not found. This, try again. So this is what we are going to display to our users. This one. This is what we are going to display. We're going to tell them that city not found. Please try again. So as I was saying earlier, we don't want our users to just have buggy inputs and the program crashes, the program closes, and all. We need them to get a feedback, yeah, and the program still runs that way. So that is it. I think we are done with our logic. So the next step we are going to have is now we're going to render our templates that way. So we're going to say return render template. So the name of template that we're going to have. So the basic one is just we're going to have index.html. Now, in our template, there are some words that we are going to use. Not even words, there are some variables that we're going to use from here in our template. So we need to specify that those variables in the template are reflecting to this, or they are equal to this. We're going to say, for example, what error when we have a variable called error in our template, it should reflect to the error here, this error. Then any other can be, yeah, I think this, the only thing we're going to use is error. Is there any other thing? I think whether, yeah. So in our template we are going to say weather, but here it is weather data. Yes. So this one on the left is what you're going to use on the template. The one on the right is what is here. So I think that one makes sense. And now let's run our application. So we're going to say if name equals to name app dot run debug was true. So we are seeing something strange here. Yes. Okay. So if double underscore name double underscore equals quotes double underscore main double underscore, yes, these ones. So the main, let me say just the reason of using that is, if we try to import our, like any of our function from here. So if you have like a file, a program, a short program that has functions and all that, and if you've already called the functions in your current file, like you have the program and you've called the functions there, it is working. Now you need to import it to another program. When you import it without this, it will call that function when you're running it in another file, and this is something we don't want. So when you use this line restricts the function calls inside that file that it is written. That is a better practice. And here we say app.run. Yes, so we are running this app. So we are done. Just like that. We are done. So the next step is use templates. We are going to now have our templates. So we refer to our project structure. We say that we're going to have a folder called templates, then we store our index.html inside. So we make the templates, So we enter this directory cd and we code index.html. Yes, that way. So now here in our templates, just save. Yes, we have our index.html. So let's just, so when you just you see, so you need like HTML, you need to write the whole content and all that. If you don't want, you can just have that exclamation, then you see here it gives you all this, all the contents that you're going to get from the exclamation is this. So just press tab or enter. Tab gives you all the things. So that way, so that is our file. We format the document. The document here is let's just say weather app. Then we have dot. Let me just, these are just later for styling. Classes can help us style later. Then we just say h1. It's our heading. Weather app. Yes, that way. That is what is going to be shown. So let's refer back to our documentation. So we are here, we have passed this, runs the weather app in localhost this. So that is it. That is our, now we are going to have our weather app method equals this, then this. So let's have our form so that we accept users input. So we are going to have this, we are done with it. Then weather form. The form is, the method is going to be post. Remember, it was posting the request of methods, so it should be post here. Then if you had a get, then you also specify it to get. Then input type text. Yes, because we are just getting text from users. The name now is going to be city. Remember, in the here, let me just go back here. This one. Good. Would just reflect the same way. This is what I was saying. This name. Then placeholder is just like something you just placeholder is just, you'll see when we run the app, we'll tell you what this placeholder is. It's just, it displays live text, but when you click on the input box, it disappears. But if you start typing, it disappears. A required field is it just like validating the input for users. Before you click on the get weather, you should have that you should have your city, not just click get and you should have a city that is required. That is why this required is in place. Then button, we have button submit, get web. Yeah, so let's implement that. We have our form. We have post, input text, and city, placeholder, enter your city, then required. And button, have get weather. Then here we have type, submit. Let's just give some docs. Here we say heading. Down here we say form for user. So you need to like document your code. It's a better practice. It makes others when they try to review your code, they understand what you meant. Now let's deal with it's now we now deal with the display info. Remember that down part where the information has been displayed is right. Dot display. So that is just like for styling purpose. All this that I'm doing. Let's go back to our file. Yes. So here we say if weather, then you now have weather class, the weather box, then city, country, this. Then yeah, that way. So let's try to implement all of this. I'm not going to copy. We just want to we're going to type it so that we understand better. So if weather this and this. Yes, so let's try to implement that. So this, I know it might be like strange using if statements in HTML. So that is the Jinga. Remember the Jinga that is installed? So that is the syntax, the syntax for the Jinga, the templating engine for Flask. So if weather, Jinga lets you like write Python code inside HTML. So you start with if, this elif, then when you're closing it should be an if, and don't forget the curly brackets and there's the percent, is it ampersand, percent sign, the percent sign, ampersand is that thing, is this ampersand, percent. Anyway, that is it. So here if weather, now we're going to display. So we just say h1 weather dot weather dot city and weather dot country. Just to for it not to apply to be appearing bigger, just remove the change. So weather dot city. So when you see these double brackets, it means it's printing, rendering variables. Remember the city variable? We're trying to render it here. So that is it. So when you go back here, remember I said the weather data here, this weather data in HTML is called weather because we specified it here. But this weather variable in HTML will reflect to our weather data inside the Flask. So it comes to weather, it looks for city, and it displays city. That is the weather.city. Again, it will go to weather versus country. So here we shall have city, then again we print. So when you have the double curly brackets, it means you're rendering a variable. So it will be weather dot country. So the next one we shall have this. Then I'll have strong just makes it bold. And the next one is it temperature. Yeah, I think these ones are just like according to you, how do you want it to be displayed. We shall have the temperature, humidity, and condition. So no, this one is the name, temperature. So here degree, let me see whether I have degree here. These symbols, is it degrees? Yeah, it's degrees Celsius. So let me just copy this down. No, copying is not a good practice, but humidity. Humidity. Then humidity, how do you measure humidity? Percent. Yeah, percent. Like the amount of water in the atmosphere. Now this comes to description. Weather dot description. Okay, percent. So here now we look for the errors, is it? In case there's no input, then we have the error now. So here weather box, we forgot the class, we're going to do that. Now here paragraph p dot error, we're going to render the error. Here let's just say dot the box. Yes, so our app is up and running now. It's good. I'm not saying it's the best one, but yeah, implementations are okay. Let's try to run our app. First, make sure your virtual environment is activated. Then let's try to run Python app.py. Let's see. Oh, yeah, an error. Did you mean .env? Wow, that we did not detect. Load. Let's see again. I shall have the same error now. So yeah. So a good way is to read your errors. Sometimes you might get the errors and you find that it gives you, like for example here it looks like your program app.py. Here it starts from here until app.py line 4 in module. Load from this, import error, cannot import load env from this. Did you mean load.env? See, it tells you good practice to rate your error. So let's try and see whether our app is running. First scene of our app. Let's click. So here you hold the control key down. Then you see when you hold the control key and you click, it opens. So let's try and see. We go with Paris. Get. Whoa. That is it. So our app is up and running. We just need some styles. We need some styles and stuff. You see, even the spacing and all that here. But our app is running. We go for Iceland. Yes, Iceland is. Whoa. I think it did not make work on the temperature well. Yeah. Temperature. Let's try to consult our code. So it gives us some weird temp. Let's see. Paris. Temperature, why is it like? Somewhere. Bugs. And temp. Why? What is the issue? Let's try to see. Weather.temp. It's here. Huh? Why is it not giving us? Code is okay. Weather.temp. There was a buggy code here. Commas missed. Try to see. And still, why? Why is there no temperature? Okay, let's try to just close this. Yeah. So country weather.temp. Go back to our here. Temp. This is better. Why is it? Copy main. Maybe we had an issue with the main. Is it temp or temperature? It's supposed to be temperature. Yes. Temperature. Wait. See? Need to be. Let's try these two. Try temperature and temp. See that it's still working. See. Yes. Running. Boom! That is it. That was temperature. You see, you need to really look at your so we need to remove that. In fact, let me just remove it. Not even comment. Remove that way. So that way. So our app is now working very well. Let me just take it side by side. So for styling, what we need is so for styling, this is now optional. Make your directory for static, then inside your cd, inside static, then you create code styles.css. so here you say weather app styling here. So just comment it out. So I like to just give a default margin equals 0, box sizing border box, then the padding because need to start fresh. Container. So let me save this. Now let me link it. So Flask, its own way of linking. Linking styles. So you put the link, you have the style sheet, then here you'll have this double, then URL for. So that is how you link static files in. Not even static, but links in general, but it differs with most images, JavaScript, and more. So here, inside the static, this styles.css. So like that, it's now okay. So look, it's working. So let's go back here, container. So we want it centered, display, flex, align, center, justify, enter, height 100, report height, that it brings it in the middle. Whoa, it's supposed to be body contain. Yes, body. Now that way, yes, that is it. Now let's work with the container. Container. We just say we give it a border. Use a box shadow. Box shadow. Why is it not working? Border. Solid. Black. Oh, hey, look at me. I've not even refreshed. See, the problem is that now I'm used to the HTML only, so that is it. it's working. Then padding, $30px. It's tiresome doing all of that again and again and again. Just use top bottom, border radius 1 rem is equivalent to 16px. Just style these ones quick, weather 1, form, yeah, quick. Margin, margin bottom, button. I think I'm just like doing some random styling so that I refresh at once. So here padding, you have tattoo, let's see, that is it. Background, say light blue. Then border radius 1px, not 1 pixel, 1 rem, that is 16 pixels. Yeah. Then the box, weather box, remember the weather box. So text, align, center, border, background, light blue, border radius 1 rem. So include the dot because it's a class. I think let's try to, yes, that way. Then a box, padding, rem, margin top, in bottom it's a margin bottom 20 pixels. In top, I think all of this I can just say margin. The first one is top bottom, so 20 pixels. Then the second one is left right, be 0. Yeah, that. Then form, text align, center, weather box, margin bottom in 1, top bottom. The first value is top bottom, so top bottom, do we need anything? Just say 1. Left right, do we need? No, don't need any. Yeah, that is it. So our app is now good. H1 text align and center. Then think for this, let's just remove the border. Look a bit nice. Border, none. Then come to input, padding 10 pixels. That's a lot. Say 7. Background, light blue, and now I'm using a lot of light blue. Border, none. Border. There. Yes. So that is it. Yes. So put in your yes. That is it. Like that. Border radius. To enhance, give some more changes. Yes. Simple as that. Now your weather app is up and running. See? You've built your weather app from scratch. So the next step you're going to do now is to deploy, push it to GitHub, all that. So now we are going to do that. That will be now we shall push GitHub and deploy it online. I think that will be now tomorrow. That's done. Tomorrow the same time at 7 is when I'll start. Then I'll push it to GitHub so that our app will be running live. So thanks for everyone who has joined. Really appreciate that. So if you've not hit the subscribe button, please do so. Like, subscribe, and yeah, we meet tomorrow. And make sure keep practicing. Yeah. And yeah, that is it. In case of anything, leave comment in the comment section, and I will see you tomorrow. Same time. So tomorrow, let me just try to scribble some of that. I've really come a long way. So next step is push to GitHub. The second one is I think deploy. I'm going to deploy out, and I'm going to send you the link, and you see and you check whether it's really like online, just from your machine and from your phone and all that. Deploy to, we're going to use render. There's a platform called render. Yes, that way. And the last one will be feedbacks for further improvement. And give me your feedbacks on how I can improve it further. Maybe go for question and answers. Yeah, so that is it. This is what we are going to tackle tomorrow, so make sure you join tomorrow 7. From 7 I'll be here. Yeah, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that when I start streaming, then you'll get the notification. Boom. That is it. If you have any question, make sure to put it in the comments, live chat section. Yeah. It was really a nice time. Really nice. It was really nice going through building this app from scratch. That was really nice.